How we doing, guys? Welcome to the preview and the predicted lineup. Chelsea against Arsenal, Carabao Cup semi-final, first leg. And it's the second of 4 away games in a row in 4 different competitions. And listen, this game's going to be very, very interesting. Chelsea against Arsenal is always interesting. And you only have to look back to, 6 weeks or so ago, I think, in the Premier League when we went to Stamford Bridge and Chelsea went down to 10 men. Obviously, they beat us 1-1. There was just such a fallout from that game. And, you know, the talk beforehand was Chelsea was 6 points behind. They were going to be closing in. There was talk of the title and everything else. And now I need an iPhone Plus to see where they are in the table because they're that far behind us. It's been absolutely madness at Chelsea since that game. And Maresca is no longer the manager. They brought in their new manager, Rossinia. And this is why it's going to be very interesting because he's obviously, had his first game as manager, which was in the FA Cup away to Charlton. But this is going to be his first home game at Stamford Bridge for Chelsea. So the crowd are going to be up for it. They're always going to be up for it anyway because it's Arsenal. Every team we play is up for it because they want to beat us. When you're top of the league, you're top of the Champions League, you've only lost 2 games all season in all competition, you are going to be everybody's number one target. It's that simple. And at the end of the day, if there weren't, enough reasons to say why this is a big game, then you've got all that, added incentive put on top. Now, Caicedo, the original shin kicker, he is not going to be available for this game for Chelsea because he's, surprise, surprise, suspended. Wow. There's some doubts over Cole Palmer because he has obviously been managing a chronic groin injury. So we don't know what the situation is there. What do Chelsea do in terms of their priority? I think the manager's kind of got a bit of a catch-22 in some respects because, he's come into a side that's already into a semi-final. If you get through, you're in the final, you play either Newcastle or Man City, and you could win a trophy within your first couple of months of being at the club. So for him, that would be amazing. It would be great. It would be, a start, a platform to build from. But then also at the same time, Chelsea's priority is Champions League football. They're not going to be winning the Premier League. We already know that. So it's about getting back into the Champions League. And, at the end of the day, if you spoke to the owners of Chelsea and you said, you've got a choice, Carabao Cup winners or qualify for the Champions League next season, they would pick qualify for the Champions League next season. 100%. And I think if you speak to a lot of Chelsea fans, they would probably pick that as well. They would probably look at the Carabao Cup as the less of all the trophies that they could possibly win. And it would be a small sacrifice to make to be in the Champions League next season. So what does he do with his side and the balance and everything else? And because of their recent run of results and everything that's gone on, it's kind of put them in a, situation where they're going to have to really, work hard to get a Champions League place. So, it'd be interesting to see what he does with the lineup and Cole Palmer and whatnot, and what he does with his midfield and the fact that there's no Caicedo. And be interesting. Does he play Reece James, who had a fantastic game against us in the league? But does he take that risk on somebody who has a history of injuries and they've obviously been managing him, for that reason over the last year or so. So, yeah, some interesting ones, but we've got injuries as well. We've got some situations that we've got to kind of look at. No Hincapié and no Calafiori again. Don't know what the situation is. Still no Max Dowman, still no Mascara. But we're also finding out as well that Trossard and Saliba may be a doubt. When it rains, it pours. But I think they will be fine for this game. But again, we've got to kind of look at our situation and say, what do we do? Because we've got Nottingham Forest at the weekend. Now, I look at that and I think, right, that's the priority, Nottingham Forest. But also, this is a priority because it's Chelsea, it's a London derby, but it is a first leg. So you kind of got another game to rectify what might go wrong in this. It's a chance of getting to Wembley. It's a chance of the first silverware of the season. Could winning this be the springboard for us to go on and win the league? Give the players that bit of confidence. Give the players that belief and that feeling of a trophy. So, yeah, it's a balance as well. And, you know, we've got Inter Milan in the Champions League next week. I think that we can rotate with that. Maybe not to the level that we did against Portsmouth, but we can simply rotate because of how strong a position we're in the Champions League. So, yeah, listen, it's not a foregone conclusion as to what either side is going to do with their lineup. And they may have one eye on the Premier League at the weekend, and we don't know. It promises to be an interesting game, that's for sure. And listen, at the end of the day, second leg at the Emirates, I'm confident of beating anybody at the Emirates. So, you know, get out of Stamford Bridge with a win would be amazing. But if it's a draw, then it wouldn't be the worst result. And we go and take care of business at the Emirates. That's the way I look at it. So, yeah, with that said, let's go and get into the team lineup. In goal, Kepa. I'm going to keep him in goal. He is our cup goalkeeper, has played throughout. I don't see why that would change or should change. So, very simple. Right back, I'm going to start Jurrien Timber for this game. I was debating whether to play him at left back and Ben White at right back. It can happen. If Saliba's not playing, then I think Jurrien Timber will go in at right centre back and Ben White will play. But if we're going by what we feel will be available and everything else, Jurrien Timber. Right centre back, William Saliba. I do think he will be okay. But like I've already said, if he isn't, Jurrien Timber will come in there. We've got plenty of options and variation. Left centre back, Gabriel. Very straightforward. Left back, I'm going to go with Miles Lewis-Skelly. Now, I've been very critical of him over the last few weeks. I've been critical of him since I've watched him in pre-season and something didn't look right. But listen, is, you know, the situation game time? Is the situation just down to something so simple as that? I'm not too sure. But I feel that it may knock his confidence even more if he's brought out of the side and he's not given a run whilst there's those injuries. And I just feel that we should give him the opportunity. So it's that simple. Moving into the midfield, I'm very tempted with this. And I would stick with Mikel Moreno at the number 6. I thought he was really, really good against Portsmouth in that role. And Zubimendi, we saw against Liverpool, looking very tired, looking fatigued. He's one of the players that's been involved throughout this season. He's new to the league and everything else. He's playing over the Christmas period when, you know, he's never had to do that before because they have their break and everything else. So I look at it and I think that, you know, it's another opportunity to give him a rest, have him on the bench, bring him on if needed, and then ready to go at the weekend. But I feel Mikel Moreno, yeah, why not? Keep him in that number 6 role. On the right-hand side, I'm going to go with Bukayo Saka. Very, very, very tempted to play Noni Madueke. I think that everything right up to the end product has been really good for Madueke. I think he does a lot of things right. But again, I alluded to this before in a previous video a while ago where I said it's the end product. If he gets that right, then my word, he's an exceptionally good player. Because everything up to that point is good. But when he gets into those positions, you don't know what's going to happen. You could get a moment like the Champions League game where he bangs one into the top corner, or you could get one where he misses a penalty with an awful effort like he did against Portsmouth. But I just feel that Saka, he had a rest, didn't get involved against Portsmouth. Play him in this game. It's as simple as that. Next to him, Martin Odegaard, he will come back into the side and he will start. Alongside him, Declan Rice, I think he has to play. It's as simple as that. Again, it's a player that got a rest against Portsmouth, so he should be firing and ready to go. On the left-hand side, I'm going to go with Martinelli. Even if Trossard is back, at the end of the day, if you score a hat-trick, you're going to be absolutely flying in terms of confidence. And listen, you play. It's as simple as that. And then up front, as the main striker, I'm going to go with Victor Gyökeres. I don't think Kai Havertz is ready to start a game yet. I think, you know, this game is perfect for him to come on with 20 minutes or so ago, back at Stamford Bridge. And he likes scoring against Chelsea. But I just feel that for this one, Gyökeres will start, but he will know his place is under serious threat right now. Even that little cameo by Havertz, you know, against Portsmouth, just the movement and the way that we were linking, and it looks so much better. But there we go. So that's it. That's my preview. That's my lineup. Let me know in the comment section whether you agree or disagree. What other changes would you make? And like I said, there could be some little variations in there. I think we've got a lot of flexibility. But yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. So big game. Let's see if we can get a victory in the first leg. But a draw would not be the end of the world, because we've got a lot of big games coming up. And yeah, we do kind of have one eye on Nottingham Forest at the weekend. It's a big game. And when you look at Man City's Premier League games coming up over this next few weeks, and I know we don't always like to look at those around us, and no disrespect to Aston Villa by not including them in this, in what I say, but when I look at Man City's next 4 games, and they've got to go away to Manchester United, and I know the way that Manchester United have been playing in the situation and all the rest of it, but it's the Manchester derby, it's Old Trafford, it's the new manager thing, and it's going to be a difficult game for Man City. And then they've got Wolves at home, and you think, okay, that'll be a routine victory. And then I think they've got Tottenham away and then Liverpool away. So 3 out of their next 4 games are Manchester United away, Tottenham away, and Liverpool away. Tough. Really, really tough. And it's important that we get our job done, because we could be sitting here in a few weeks' time with a bigger gap than 6. But if we don't do things correctly, we could be sitting there with a gap less than 6. Let's get our job done. So there we go. You know what to do if you haven't already. Like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you lot very soon. I'm out of here.